Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge rips Hope apart. Steffy eats the pieces. Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel Beautiful Today. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Bold and the Beautiful has Ridge Forrester with Hope Logan in his scope. And soon Steffy Forrester uses every morsel she gets as her father rips her rival apart. While Steffy once fed her father a narrative about a poison Hope, today the tables turn and Ridge returns the favor. So Steffy doesn't miss the chance to eat her alive, something she's been trying to do for a while now. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Ridge Forrester sets the stage. Bold and the Beautiful had Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K. give Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, the details of his confrontation with Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor. Brooke seemed to understand what Ridge went through until he hit her with the one detail he failed to mention at first. Brooke understood his pain, sadness, and feelings of betrayal toward Carter. But she didn't understand what Ridge slammed her with at the end of their conversation. So fury starts to fester from the woman this dressmaker calls his Logan. Ridge Forrester told Brooke Logan how he was willing to give Carter a second chance, but he turned it down, which baffled the Logan matriarch. Then, Ridge made it very clear that he blamed Hope Logan, Annika Noel, for Carter's takeover attempt. So, Bold and the Beautiful set the stage for Hope Logan to get raked through the coals by the Forrester family. And the first one up to bat is likely Steffy Forrester, Jacqueline Missins Wood. B and B spoilers. Hope Logan has Steffy Forrester on her tail. Ridge Forrester started a battle with Brooke Logan after their talk. But this likely pales in comparison to what Steffy is about to do this week on Bold and the Beautiful. Until now, Ridge Forrester tried to back Steffy down from her rage directed at Hope, but it looks like that's about to come to a screeching halt. Now Ridge believes Steffy was right when pegging Hope Logan as a manipulative, self-absorbed woman. So he's soon throwing the same accusations at Hope, just like Steffy. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers have Hope Logan not backing down from Steffy Forrester this week, as the two go head-to-head in a battle. Until now, Hope had no choice but to deal with Steffy diplomatically, as she was her boss, but that is not the case anymore. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Ridge gives Steffy fuel for fire against Hope. Bold and the Beautiful puts Ridge Forrester in a campaign of rage against Hope Logan. So this is just what Steffy Forrester needs, an open door to go after her rival. But with Hope no longer an employee, she can drop that wall of respect she struggled to keep up for her bosses. So while Steffy Forrester gives it her all, Hope will likely deliver shocking comebacks for her rival. B and B spoilers suggest Ridge and Steffy join forces against Hope. They continue to blame her for Carter Walton's takeover attempt. But from what the spoilers indicate, that takeover is not an easy fix, as Ridge seems to think. So, as Ridge makes the snowballs for Steffy Forrester to throw at Hope Logan, things get unbearable at FC. But Ridge Forrester has a false sense of security that FC will easily fall back into the Forrester family's hands. That said, the tables soon turn and the father-daughter duo likely end up suffering from a lack of control at FC. Not to mention some brutal words aimed their way on the CBS. The sun hung low over Los Angeles, casting a golden glow over the sprawling mansions and sun-soaked streets of the Forrester estate. But within the walls of the Forrester mansion, a storm was brewing. It wasn't the kind of storm that could be predicted by weather reports or satellites, but one of raw emotions, long-held grudges, and dangerous love triangles. The kind of storm that only the Forrester family could truly understand. And at the center of it all was Ridge Forrester, the patriarch who had played his part in every major drama that had unfolded in the family's history. Ridge was standing by the grand windows of his office, looking out onto the bright horizon, but his mind was far from peaceful. The relationship between his two daughters, Steffy and Hope, had always been a complex web of rivalry, love, and betrayal, but now it had taken an even darker turn. Ridge could feel the weight of his past choices pressing down on him, the ghosts of past loves and decisions haunting every corner of his mind. His eyes narrowed as he thought about Hope Logan, his daughter-in-law, who had become the unwitting catalyst for the drama that was unfolding. For months now, Ridge had tried to keep the peace, to be the voice of reason in a family that thrived on chaos. But every time he looked at Hope, his patience thinned. She had always been the golden girl, the beacon of hope in the Forrester family. The way she had wormed her way into his son Liam's heart, always pulling him back from Steffy's arms, left Ridge fuming with resentment. And then there was Steffy, his pride and joy. The one who had always been his rock, the one he had watched grow from a rebellious teenager to a strong, independent woman who had taken the Forrester legacy and molded it into her own. She had built an empire, and Ridge had always been so proud of her. But now, that empire was teetering on the edge of destruction, and it was Hope who was threatening to topple it all. Ridge turned away from the window, his eyes blazing with determination. He had been patient long enough, and it was time to take action. Chapter 2: Hope's Betrayal. Hope had always known that her life would be filled with challenges. Growing up as a Logan, surrounded by the larger-than-life Forrester family, had shaped her into a woman who was accustomed to navigating the complexities of love, loyalty, and family dynamics. But nothing could have prepared her for what was coming. The moment she had walked into the Forrester mansion to confront Ridge, she had felt the tension in the air. "Ridge," she had said softly, her voice trembling slightly, "we need to talk." He had looked at her with cold eyes, the smile that usually played at the corners of his lips nowhere to be found. Ridge Forrester was a man of action, not words, and in that moment, Hope realized that the relationship they had once shared, a fragile bond built on mutual respect, was about to be shattered. "I don't think there's much to talk about, Hope," Ridge had replied, his tone sharp and cutting. "I've watched you tear apart my family for far too long." Hope's heart sank, but she held her ground. "I love Liam," she said. "You have to believe that." "Love?" Ridge's laugh was humorless. "Do you even know what love is, Hope? Or are you just playing your part in a game that you're far too naive to understand?" The words stung, but Hope refused to back down. "I'm not the one who's been playing games, Ridge. I'm not the one who's been manipulating everything to get what I want." Ridge's eyes flashed with anger. "You think you're some innocent bystander in this mess? You've been lying to yourself, and to Liam, for years. You've built your entire life on a foundation of deceit." The accusation hit Hope like a ton of bricks. She had always believed that her love for Liam was pure, that it had been destined from the start. But Ridge's words made her question everything. Had she been living a lie all this time? Ridge took a step closer, his presence towering over her. "You've torn Steffy apart, Hope. You've used every trick in the book to keep her from the man she loves, and you've done it all with a smile on your face, pretending to be the victim." Hope recoiled, hurt by the venom in his words. "I never meant to hurt anyone." "But you did," Ridge said flatly. "And now you've hurt the one person who matters most to me, my daughter." As Ridge's words settled into the air between them, Hope felt her chest tighten with a mix of guilt and frustration. Ridge had always been a man of high standards, a man who demanded loyalty and honesty above all else. But what about his own actions? What about the years of manipulation and deceit that had stained the Forrester family? But before Hope could respond, the door to the office burst open and Steffy walked in, her entrance dramatic as always. Chapter 3: Steffy's Rage. Steffy Forrester had never been one to hold back. She had always been bold, fearless, and ready to fight for what she wanted. But when she saw Hope standing there, in the very heart of the Forrester mansion, where she had once been welcomed as family, something inside Steffy snapped. "Ridge, are you really going to let her get away with this?" Steffy's voice was icy, her eyes fixed on Hope with a look of disdain. Hope flinched but stood her ground. I'm not the enemy here, Steffy. Oh, please, Steffy scoffed, folding her arms. You've been the enemy from the moment you set foot in this house. You've manipulated Liam into believing you're the only one who can make him happy, and now you're trying to tear my family apart. I never meant to hurt anyone, Hope said again, her voice shaking. I love Liam. I always have. Steffy let out a bitter laugh. Love? You don't know the first thing about love. You only know how to destroy it. Hope's eyes widened with shock. You think I've destroyed everything? Steffy took a step forward, her gaze never leaving Hope's. Yes, I do. You've taken everything from me, my family, my happiness, and now you're trying to take Liam too. Ridge watched the exchange, his heart pounding in his chest. He had been caught in the middle of this feud for far too long, and now, as the two women he loved most tore each other apart, he knew he had to make a choice. He had to stop it before it all spiraled out of control. Ridge finally said, his voice low and dangerous. I've watched this war between you two for years, and I'm done with it. Hope, you've been selfish, and Steffy, you've been vengeful. Neither of you is innocent. Steffy's eyes flashed with fury. What are you saying, Dad? I'm saying that it's time for both of you to face the truth, Ridge replied. You've both pushed Liam to the brink, and now it's time for you to choose. Are you going to continue this endless battle, or are you going to let it go? The room fell silent as Steffy and Hope exchanged a look. It was clear that neither of them was ready to back down. Their rivalry had become too entrenched, their wounds too deep. And in that moment, Ridge realized that nothing would ever truly bring peace to the Forrester family. Chapter 4: The Final Blow. Ridge knew that the truth was ugly. He had always known it. But now, the time had come to reveal it, to lay everything bare and let the chips fall where they may. You've both been pawns in a game that's gone on for far too long, Ridge said quietly. And it's time to stop pretending that there's any chance of things getting better. The damage has been done, and no matter what we do now, nothing will ever be the same. Steffy's heart pounded in her chest as she listened to her father's words. Was this it? Was this the end of everything they had fought for? And what about Liam? Would he choose her? Or was she destined to lose him to Hope forever? Hope's eyes were filled with sorrow, but there was a fire behind them as well. She wasn't ready to lose Liam. She wouldn't back down without a fight. Ridge's voice broke through the tension. You've both made choices. And now those choices will have consequences. It's time for us all to face them. With that, Ridge turned and walked away, leaving Steffy and Hope standing in the room, the weight of his words hanging heavy between them. The war was far from over. But in that moment, Ridge had made it clear that it was a war neither of them could win. The silence left in Ridge's wake was deafening. Hope's pulse quickened as she watched his retreating figure disappear down the hallway. Every word he had spoken felt like a blow, each one driving a deeper wedge between her and the people she had once considered family. As much as she wanted to believe that things could be fixed, that her relationship with Liam could remain intact, Ridge had made it clear that the foundation had cracked too much. And for the first time, Hope realized the cost of the choices she had made. Steffy stood there, arms crossed, her face set in a mixture of anger and disbelief. She could feel the adrenaline still coursing through her veins, her heart racing, as though they were still in the middle of a battle. Hope's words from before barely registered in Steffy's mind. The same tired, apologetic excuses. The same helpless act. Steffy had heard it all before, and she was done listening. You're so good at playing the victim, Hope, Steffy sneered, breaking the silence. It's exhausting. You've been fighting for Liam's love for years now. What makes you think this time will be any different? Hope's breath caught in her throat, but she forced herself to hold Steffy's gaze. She had heard that tone before. The one that made her feel small. The one that made her doubt every move she made. But no matter how much Steffy tried to tear her down, Hope wasn't going to let herself crumble, not this time. I don't want to fight with you, Hope said, her voice shaky but resolute. I never did. I just want to be happy. I just want to be with the man I love. Well, congratulations, Steffi replied bitterly, her voice dripping with venom. You've succeeded in that, haven't you? But at what cost? Hope swallowed hard, her eyes glossing over as the weight of Steffi's words took hold. At what cost? The question echoed in her mind. She had lost more than just her chance at happiness with Liam. She had lost the respect of the people who mattered most to her, the people who had once believed in her, and now, Steffi was right. The war between them had cost them both more than they could afford. You know, Steffi continued, her voice growing colder, I used to feel sorry for you. You were always so sweet, so naive, but now I realize it wasn't about Liam at all. It was about something much darker. You wanted to destroy me, to tear apart everything I've worked for, and you've done it. Hope shook her head, her eyes stinging with unshed tears. I never wanted to hurt you, Steffi. I never wanted to destroy anything, but you have to understand. Liam is the man I love. I've always loved him, and he's always come back to me. I can't help that. Steffi's eyes narrowed, her face hardening into a mask of fury. You think he's come back to you because of some great, deep love, or because he's too weak to make coming back to you because he doesn't know how to walk away from the toxic web you've weaved? Hope flinched, the accusation stinging more than she cared to admit. But Steffi wasn't done. She took a step closer, her eyes flashing with fury. Everything you've done, every move you've made, it's been calculated. You knew what you were doing the entire time, Hope. You've been playing this game for far too long, and I'm done being your pawn. Hope's breath hitched. She wanted to argue, to fight back, but Steffi's words resonated within her. There was some truth to what she said. Hadn't she known, deep down, that every time she manipulated Liam's emotions, every time she took a step to wedge herself between him and Steffi, that it was one more piece of their fractured relationship? I never meant for it to be this way, Hope whispered, her voice breaking. I just wanted to have the life I dreamed of. Steffi's lips curled into a bitter smile. Well, congratulations, Hope. You've got it. Now enjoy it. With that, Steffi turned on her heel and stormed out of the room, leaving Hope standing alone, her chest tight with emotion. Chapter 6. The Aftermath. Liam had been waiting for Hope in the living room, his brow furrowed in concern. When he heard the heated voices moments ago, he had known that something was wrong. He had never been one to shy away from conflict, but this felt different. His heart pounded as he wondered what kind of damage had been done. He glanced toward the hallway as Steffi stormed past him, her face a mask of anger. She didn't say a word. There was nothing left to say. Steffi! Liam called after her, but she was already gone. Hope appeared in the doorway, her face pale and drawn. Her eyes were red from crying, and her posture sagged as though the weight of the world had settled on her shoulders. Liam's heart clenched at the sight of her, but even as he moved toward her, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had irrevocably changed between them. Hope, he said softly, his voice filled with concern, but also hesitation. What happened? Hope blinked up at him, as though seeing him for the first time. Her eyes were clouded, her thoughts scattered. She opened her mouth to speak, but found herself at a loss for words. What could she say? How could she explain what had transpired? Liam, she whispered finally, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say anymore. Ridge, he told me things that I didn't want to hear. And Steffi. Liam stepped closer, taking her hands in his. He could feel the tremor in her fingers, but he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to fix this. Tell me what happened, he urged her gently. I need to understand. Hope hesitated, biting her lip as she searched for the right words. Ridge, he said that everything I've done, everything I've built with you, is built on a lie. And Steffi, she said I've destroyed everything. And maybe she's right. Maybe I have. Maybe this whole thing, This whole relationship has been a mistake. Liam's breath caught in his chest. What are you saying? I'm saying, Hope started, her voice trembling, that I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if I've ever truly made the right choice. Liam swallowed hard, his heart aching as he realized the depth of the hurt that Hope had been carrying. But as much as he wanted to comfort her, there was something deeper nagging at him. Something that wouldn't let him ignore the chaos that had unfolded between them. I can't pretend anymore, Liam, Hope continued, her voice barely above a whisper. I can't pretend that I didn't know what I was doing, that I didn't hurt Steffy, that I didn't try to hold on to you when maybe I should have let go. Liam's eyes burned with pain, but he forced himself to hold her gaze. Hope, I don't know what to say, but I need to be honest with you. I've been so caught up in this fight, between you and Steffy, that I haven't been paying attention to what I really need. And what I need is peace. Hope's heart pounded as the realization struck her. Peace. It was something they had never truly found, not as a couple, not as a family. The damage was done, and the path ahead was too unclear. There was no turning back now. I love you, Hope said softly, but the words felt hollow as they left her lips. The truth was, she wasn't sure who she was anymore. And she wasn't sure if Liam was the one who would help her find her way back. Chapter 7. The End of an Era. The Forrester family was no stranger to conflict, but this time felt different. Ridge's words had severed the delicate threads that held the family together, leaving behind nothing but wreckage. As Steffy retreated into her own world of vengeance and pain, and Hope struggled to rebuild the pieces of her broken relationship, one thing became painfully clear: the Forrester dynasty would never be the same again.